Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Dan Mugera. I'm a coach, I'm a speaker. Always a pleasure for me to be part of the global community. Thank you, Moses Gwei, for watching. Long time, my brother. Thank you for tuning in. So today we want to talk about the 3 C's, or the dangers of the 3 C's. The danger of the 3 C's. Comparison, competition, and conflicts. I know most people really do not pay attention to the dangers of these 3 C's. But I want to believe that if we are going to live a fulfilling life, then we will need to be cautious of the dangers of the 3 C's. Thank you, Lisbon, for tuning in. So, most of the time we realize that comparison, competition, and conflict begins in a subtle way. And I want you to know that this is part of my soon-to-be-released book, Eradicating a Poverty Mentality. And these are some of the issues that I discuss in that particular book. Thank you, Salem Lorot, for tuning in. Glad to see you here. So, comparison, competition, conflicts begin in a very, very subtle way. We begin by comparing ourselves to others. We then start competing with them, and before long, conflicts set in. Thank you, Pastor Richmond Kalibala, for tuning in. Asimba, for tuning in. Glad to see you here. So we then start competing with them, and before long, conflicts set in. So I want us to look at one by one. And so we are going to look at comparison. Many people have deviated from their purpose and passion through comparison. Thank you, Judy Mugera, for tuning in. Many people have deviated from their purpose and passion through comparison. We waste a lot of energy trying to fit in by comparing ourselves to our peers, neighbors, or even strangers. We want to be who they are, possess what they possess, and do what they do. That's what most people will want to do. Now, there is a psychological effect of considering yourself to be lower or higher than you actually are. Thank you, Delvis Njiwe. Thank you, Pastor Ndambo, for tuning in. Esther Kilonzo, for tuning in. So many people have deviated from their purpose and passion through comparison. We waste a lot of energy trying to fit in by comparing ourselves to our peers, neighbors, or even strangers. We want to be who they are, possess what they possess, and do what they do. Now, there is a psychological effect of considering yourself to be lower or higher than you actually are. Now, some people consider themselves irrelevant, incapable, and useless. Besides, others have equated themselves to unrealistic standards of other people's. Why? Because we spend a lot of time comparing ourselves to other people. Now, in life, there will always be someone richer, more knowledgeable, wiser, more courageous, more connected, smarter, and more talented than you. That is the reality of life. You should therefore stop wasting your energy by comparing yourself with them. Let me tell you, I know there is there is a smarter coach, a smarter speaker, a smarter author, a skilled person more than me in this world. What I can do is to learn from these people, but not to compare myself with them. But at the same time, did you know that there are people who are looking at me as the better one, as the smarter one, as the knowledgeable one? And because of that, they learn from me. So always at every point of your life, there will be somebody who is better than you in many ways, and you can learn from them. But listen to me, there will also be people who are learning from you. It is okay to learn from others. It is nonetheless ill-advised to compare yourself with them, because you will end up killing your passion and purpose. You will end up killing your passion and purpose. Thank you, Wanjiku, Rachel, and Ann Ochola for tuning in. So you should therefore stop wasting your energy by comparing yourself with them. So many people have lost a lot of fulfillment. They have deviated away from their purpose simply because they want to be who they are not, by comparing themselves to other people. And what happens is that comparison breeds competition. Comparison breeds competition. One of the greatest sources of evils around the world is competition. Today we talk about political competition, religious competition, academic competition, business competition. We talk about military competitions in the world, And this has resulted to war and conflicts of every kind. In Kenya, we usually talk about tribal competition. In other countries, they could be having class competition or racism, or race competition. But in our country, most of the time, especially during political times or election nearing time, we have tribal competition. Which tribe has more numbers than another tribe? Now, one of the greatest sources of evils around the world is competition. We were never designed to compete, but to complete one another. I will say that again. We were never designed to compete, but to complete one another. Competition is not God's agenda for man, but man's agenda for himself. Competition is not God's agenda for man, but man's agenda for himself. Thank you very much, Genevieve Barbara, my friend, for tuning in all the way from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The heart of man cannot withstand competition, hence conflict becomes the product of competition. Most of the time where you see a lot of competition, then conflicts will definitely come in. Now, I just want to give you a biblical story that I believe this is one of the genesis of negative competition. And the Bible explains in the book of Genesis about Cain and Abel, eldest brother, could not withstand Cain. Abel's elder brother could not withstand the pain of God's preference for his brother's offerings to his. He felt this way despite the fact that they had different responsibilities. One of them was in charge of keeping flocks, and another one was in charge of growing crops. Cain did not keep his heart from evil imagination, and what happened? He ended up killing his brother due to comparison and competition. That's what competition can do. That's what competition can do. Sports was designed to be an entertainment so that people can be able to enjoy themselves. The competition in sports was simply designed to be entertainment. But what happened, we graduated from sports into political, academic, religious competition, business competitions, that today many people are getting hurt due to competition. So we begin with comparison, and then we find ourselves in competition. To avoid competition, understand that we were created to stick to our lanes. You are a product of one sperm, did you know that? Which fertilized an egg, and in all aspects of life, you are unique. In all aspects of life, believe me, you are unique. Research has discovered that all human beings are different irrespective of some similarities. All of us, believe me, we are different. We have different personalities, capabilities, and gifts. Sticking to your own lane is about discovering your purpose, putting passion into it, and running your own race. Now, fulfillment can never be achieved by devoting yourself to compete with others, but sticking to your own lane. You will never be able to find fulfillment by competing with other people. Now compete with yourself. Compete with yourself. That's what I will encourage you to do. As you stick to your lane, the best thing you can do is to compete with yourself. Rather than waste your energy competing with others in this life, go ahead and compete with yourself. Competing with yourself entails developing and understanding yourself. Most people do not understand themselves, and therefore they cannot develop themselves in the best way possible. It's about understanding your capacity and becoming more aware of who you are. Understanding your capacity and becoming more aware of who you are. Now, I have observed that when you compete with yourself, you have no time to compare or compete with others. You strive to become a better person by changing your attitude, sharpening your skills, and doing what you were created to do. That in itself is what I call an abundance mentality. And we're not going to overcome a poverty mentality until we begin to understand how to overcome comparison and to overcome competition. Most people strive to be number one in life. Always, people strive to be number one in life. One day, my daughter came back from school and announced with joy to me that, "Daddy, I am position one in my class." And I looked at her, smiled, and went ahead to give her a life lesson that she has never forgotten to this day. I pointed out to her that even though it's okay to be position one, she did not go to school to compete. Her greatest competitor is herself, and not the other child who was position 2, 3, or even 4. I further explained to her that growth in life is not achieved by competing with others. I told her that we grow when we keep on improving ourselves. And I went ahead to teach her that focus should be on the marks she scores and not her position in class. I explained to her that if she keeps improving her marks, she won't need to worry about her position in class. And finally, I made her repeat the phrase, "I am competing with myself," several times. The question I want to ask you today is, are you your own major competitor? Are you your own major competitor? It is my opinion that school is the primary foundation of the attitude of competition. It is at school that some teachers and parents always compared us with someone else and urged us to be better academically than everyone else. We picked the attitude of competition, went ahead to work hard so that we can be the best of all students. It's a pity, friends, that even those who were not doing well academically will pride themselves for having beaten some few other guys in exams when results came out. You remember that if you were 30 in class and then you became position 25, you were glad that at least you were not number 30. you were not the last one, that at least you went ahead to beat 5 people. That's the attitude that was put in us by the conservative education. Unfortunately, conservative education continues to put in many kids and many people the idea of competition. But we need to transit. When we embrace the attitude of competition, what happens? We normalize it. We rejoice in doing better than so and so and moving faster than our peers, our brothers and sisters. In addition, we seek praises for almost everything we do. Now, on the other hand, we seem to have those who are ahead of us, praying and desiring to catch up with them. Peradventure, they may realize that we too are stars. That's what an attitude of competition does to us. That's what an attitude of competition does to us. Now, this attitude is the reason behind the idea of faking it till you make it. It is the drive behind people borrowing money they don't need to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. How unfortunate that can be. That you find people borrowing money they don't need to buy things they don't want simply to impress people they don't like. You find yourself living a pathetic life because you are trying to compete with other people. Now, I love long drives. In my country, I've driven to long distance, from Nairobi to other towns that are very far away from my town. When I began driving or doing long drives, I was caught in a particular paranoia, let me call it that way, where you find yourself driving very fast just to arrive. And sometimes you will be caught in trying to pass as many or outrace as many vehicles as possible. Never mind, those vehicles are not in any race with you, simply to feel good. That was the motivation. But then I came to realize that who am I competing with? I am going to a destination that I know best. Some of these people may not even be going to the same destination like the one I'm going. So why am I competing with them? I don't know whether you have found yourself on the highway driving so fast so that you can pass a particular vehicles, and you went ahead to compete with that particular vehicles only to go for 30 kilometers, and then that vehicle changed and went to another road away from the road that you were following. You find yourself, pitting yourself that why were you even competing with that particular person in that vehicle in the first place? Now, life is like a highway. You can't drive with an intention of outracing every car that overtakes you. Similarly, you cannot drive when you don't know where you are going. Stick to your lane. It's not about how many vehicles you overtake, but whether or not you arrive safely at your destination. A good driver does not live his life or her life trying to prove to people what a good driver she is by always speeding to outrace other vehicles. I'd rather live my life, make mistakes, learn from them, and move forward than try to be the person I am not by always competing with others whose aspirations and purpose differ from mine. Unfortunately, most people have found themselves in this cocoon of comparison and competition. What becomes the result? Conflicts. The dangers of the 3C is open and here with us. Comparison breeds competition, and competition breeds conflict. Competition breeds conflict. Show me people who are always competing, and I will show you people who are full of internal and external conflicts. In your endeavor to compete, you elicit negative energy. That is the truth of the matter. You could be, this negative energy could be in the form of hatred, bitterness, anger, or stress, but you will eventually find yourself there. Now, since words are product of our thoughts, they have the ability to create actions and habits which may trigger conflicts. Internally, conflicts could assume the form of Cold War. However, if not controlled, the conflict boils and spills over. And this is the result why you find nations going into war with other nations, organizations going into business wars with other nations, trying to outdo each other, individuals fighting, and hating each other simply because somebody looks better or seems to be doing better than the other person. Sibling rivalry. All this is because of comparison, competition, and conflicts. However, these conflicts, if not controlled, they boil and spill over. It then morphs into a war of words, physical fights, and even death. That was the reason Cain had to kill Abel. Conflicts have led to fights, witchcraft, backstabbing, slander, and abuse of power. Today we know for a fact that even in our own nation, the idea of comparison, competition has bred a lot of conflicts in the society, from the political arena to business arena to family arena. We don't seem to be doing good because we have trodden on our values and allowed these 3 C's to create within us a toxic environment that doesn't lead us to positive growth. We must therefore beware of these 3 C's of comparison, competition, and conflicts, because they have the potential to kill your passion and diminish your productivity. If you are going to be productive, you do not need to compare yourself with anybody. You simply need to be your own competition and move towards the right direction. And through this, you will find yourself not eliciting either internal or external conflicts that could harm you primarily and then harm other people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my desire to see societies and individuals move to the mountaintop of success and significance. But for this to happen, we need to deal with the 3 C's, because they are very, very dangerous. We need to deal with the comparison. We need to deal with competition and go ahead to deal with conflicts that are brought about by comparison and competition. And I'm glad that you could tune in. I will appreciate if you could visit our website, www.publicspeakingtc.org, and see the program that we offer there, our professional speakers course, leadership development programs, and other personal development program that could be of help to you. But I also would like you to know that in such a time as this, if you are in need of counseling, together with other counselors, we have teamed up to those who cannot afford pro bono counseling, for those who are going through stress or depression. But for those of you who can afford and you need to see a counselor, we provide virtual services right now, counseling you. But also our public speaking and leadership development program, for now we have moved them online and you can sign up. Please don't hesitate to drop a message on my inbox or visit our website and drop a message to info@publicspeakingtc so that we can connect and learn together. During this time of pandemic, believe me, you can learn and grow. You can learn and grow. And we have we've given big discounts to our program. And you can learn from wherever you are. Believe me, with Zoom, you can learn from wherever you are. And take advantage of this time to grow yourself to become a better person. Understand that within you, you could be battling with comparison, you could be battling with competition, and thinking that you're lagging behind even in such a time as this. But look, you can keep calm and grow yourself to become a better person to avoid the conflicts of life. Always glad to bring to you this broadcast every Tuesday. Now our time is 8 p.m. and you can plan, you can put that in your diary to always have this particular date with me every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Dan Mugera brings you this particular broadcast. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. See you.